Today is 23rd April and it's about 7:30 in the evening here. Today I won't start with Ghalib because I want to cover some of the things which I wrote many days back, and since I start with Ghalib I sort of take too much time there and I never get to the specific points which I had written down quite long back. So let's start with that. So all these rants, all these guesses are really that much gas. It's too early in the cycle. Future actually will be decided by the duration and severity of the crisis. If it lasts for 2 years, and if we lose 3%, 4% of the population, that is going to have much deeper and much greater impact than if it were to sort of peter out in a few months with the loss of not more than 0.1 or 0.3% of our population. So right now the trend is not clear. So I am going by the lower figure, the lesser disruption figure, because as I have shared in earlier rants, I don't think it's going to be as bad as the worst case that I was imagining earlier, or I shared with you just now. So let's look at some of the likelihoods. Now, of course, there will be health and life disruption. That is a given, right? So there will be a huge change in that we will know as everything unfolds. But definitely one big area of work that will be opening up will be health related work, so that's clear. There will be a huge economic turmoil. Even at the lower end of disruption, it's going to be a big turmoil. A lot of countries will end up creating a lot of money. There will be huge unemployment. A lot of businesses will close down, go bankrupt. So that will have an impact. And the third impact, which I'm really scared of, is that there might be a great amount of political upheaval. This could come about as a result of hunger, because face it, we don't have much of an option other than to keep having lockdowns. With lockdowns, agricultural production will suffer. With lockdowns, urban jobs will suffer. Poverty will increase a great deal. Hunger, mainly urban hunger, will increase. And urban hunger is really the recipe for rebellion, revolutions and whatnot. So that's something which is worrisome. There could be a lot of violence. It could be sectarian, it could be communal, it could be class divided. I don't know. But those are the things which could happen unless governments are very, very careful and they do everything to ameliorate people's suffering, especially hunger. Right now, as I see, farmers are in a bind. Whatever they produce, they are not able to sell even at cost, which will result in farmers not sowing so much of stuff that they cannot store or sell, and that will result in huge amount of disruption, because no one can really feed India other than India itself. So I don't know where this will go. The government has to be extremely careful about rural distress, because urban distress, there are officers there, there are observers there are cameras there are reporters there, so that gets reported. But rural distress, the breadbasket sits in the hinterland. So that is something we have to keep an eye on. And I guess that the amount of disruptions that will happen will result in, post the crisis, either a lot of people moving away from rural dwellings, or a lot of people will go there. Why will they move away? Because if they are not getting food there, then they will come to cities, because some handouts are available in cities, may be available in cities. On the other hand, if they are able to feed themselves and we are not able to feed in the cities, people will go to their villages and try and eke out a living there. With the kind of population that we have, that will mean a lot of people getting pushed down in under the poverty line. So that's all going to happen. Then international borders will definitely become harder, in that it won't be easy to go across from country to country. Even product globalization is likely to reduce. In-country manufacture will be preferred. Even domestically, different states will likely to make people movement more difficult. Guest workers will be expected to localize and move permanently. There could be language issues in that. Say, for example, Karnataka will expect that guest workers who will continue to stay in Bangalore will start using and speaking Kannada way more than they have done so far. Smaller localized manufacturing will be preferred even by big companies. Large units, lots of warehousing, haulage, logistics will be frowned upon. Many local economies will weaken, which will stop getting paradrop monies from their diaspora. So what I'm saying is that all those people who were living on the Gulf money will probably find it very difficult to do that. Smaller manufacturing units might create local jobs, but of course they wouldn't be paying as well as jobs elsewhere in the country or abroad. Salaries will obviously become lower. Fewer blue collar workers will go to mega cities, which might mean some improvement in the salaries of those who will continue to be in mega cities, but life in mega cities could become difficult. Fewer white collar workers will go to the Arabian Gulf and so forth, and similar dormitorial locations. Wherever they go, if they're allowed to go, they will probably stay there, which means that those locations might be the Western nations, not so much as the Gulf nations. Property prices and rentals in cities will definitely go down. Smaller towns might grow in terms of population faster than mega cities. Mega cities might actually depopulate to an extent. For short term, rural populations will increase, as well as rural economies, after the crisis is through and there is sufficient money going around everywhere in the economy. Because of general depression, mental depression, and financial depression as well, people will lose faith in capitalism to an extent. To what extent, that will depend upon, again, the severity and the duration of the crisis. I think the adulation of mega rich will reduce. There may be an increase in scientific literacy. Some religious reforms might happen. Blind faith will hopefully lose some ground because of the recognition that all religions created greater problems for all the people in this scenario, where the best option that we had was to go by scientific advice. Jingoism, communalism, racism will increase, making people want to live in their own social ghettos. Social mobility will reduce, as in, if you are born in a financially weaker, economically weaker class, you are not very likely to be able to move up in the society in terms of becoming rich. Islamophobia almost certainly will increase. Hopefully that will result in sensible Muslims losing their fear of the Muslim religious mafia, as it were. Organizations like TJ and many other. I mean, only a person with a liberal outlook, who is born in and lives in a Muslim social setting, will be able to understand the amount of pressure that we need to live with. That hopefully will reduce. Governments will almost certainly become more dictatorial. We were already moving towards this. Most of the world has been turning right for a while, and has been getting strong men as their heads of governments. They are probably this is dream come true for any person with a dictatorial mindset. So governments will become dictatorial all over the world. Most liberal gains will be eroded one by one. So yeah, I mean, this is not a very pretty picture that that I'm painting right now. But you know what? You have to live by what the world is, not by what you want it to be. So irrespective of what I want the world to be, can't help it. We'll have to go by what the world actually is. So I think we are at 13 minutes and 13 seconds. Let's move on to Ghalib and what he teaches us in this scenario, this rather upsetting, depressing scenario which I have painted so far. So today's couplet is, हमको मालूम है जन्नत की हकीकत, लेकिन हमको मालूम है जन्नत की हकीकत, लेकिन Jannat is heaven, the religious heaven, as it were. So we know the reality of the heaven that is always sold to us by religious people. तो हमको मालूम है जन्नत की हकीकत, लेकिन दिल के खुश रखने को गालिब ये ख्याल अच्छा है. So he says that it's a good idea to keep yourself happy, meaning he knows that religion is that much unreal, just a made up thing which is there to make people happy, the heaven part of it, and to make people disciplined, the hell part of it. So that's what he says, nothing much to really talk about here. But what it really sort of points me towards is, I have this problem with religious people, specifically Muslim religious people, that they consider Allah or God to be this entity who, number one, knows everything, who, number two, has the power to do anything, and who, number three, is extremely benevolent. In other words, Allah or God is the entity that loves you the most. Indeed, Allah loves me more than I can love myself or any other human being can love me. Allah has more power than any other human, or indeed all humans combined, have. And Allah knows more than any human or all humans combined can know. So, what does that tell me? If I go by that belief, then in that case, Allah or God has already planned out and is doing the best that I can get. He's already planned, He's already giving me the best that I can get. Then who am I to actually go and ask Him for something else? Because whatever else I may want, whatever else I may ask Him to give me, pray to Him, जिस भी चीज़ की दुआ मांगूंगा, that will be suboptimal, that will be less than what He's giving me anyway. So how can I go and tell Him that, look God, you don't know what I want, you're not giving me what I want, I know what I want, give me what I want. Or that you are such a petty entity that you need me to beg before you decide to give me something. So to me, this is really anti-pathetic to the even concept of God. Forget about belief in God. I believe that I must always be grateful for what I receive. If I believe in God, if I believe in Allah or any other God, I must always be grateful to whatever He, She, it has given me and will give me. And the same way, I must also be grateful to the society, to my country, to my people, to everyone who has given me anything which I enjoy, which I need for my life, and which I get it. I think that one of the most important mindsets that you need to have to be successful, more so in post-COVID life, is a deeply believed, deeply felt, deeply understood, deeply lived by gratefulness. Probably nothing is more important than being grateful for what we have been getting and we will be getting. True, most of us, including me, are scared shitless of what the future will bring to us. But remember, we have lived a life in which we have enjoyed greatly. We have received a lot of goodness, because if we have not received a lot of goodness, why have we continued living? The very fact that we have continued living is a testament to the fact that we have had a wonderful life. Why else would we live on? So, we have had a great life, and we must never, never, never not be grateful for that. So it doesn't matter who you believe in, what you believe in, thank everyone. Be grateful to everyone. Be grateful to your God. Nothing more important than that. So don't ask. Don't go beg Him to relieve us of this pandemic. Go thank Him. Raise your hands and say, "My Lord God Almighty, thank you for everything. Whatever you have given me, I thank you for that. Even if what you're giving me is troublesome for me, I still thank you for it. You certainly have something in store for me which I need, but I don't know yet. So good Lord God, Allah, universe, mom, dad, wife, son, husband, whoever, thank you very much for everything. Ya Allah, Tera shukr. Ya Allah, Tera shukr. Ya Allah, Tera shukr." Thanks. Thank you very much for being there. Bye.